this episode, we have Venice all to ourselves. We are wintering in Certosa Marina, which is a nature park just east of the city. We regularly visit St Mark's Square and the other outlying islands, which any other year would be packed with tourists, using the extensive Vaporetto water bus network. But the real treat that not everyone knows about are the deeper canals, and we take Fairall right up into the lagoon. Perfect for bird watching, canoeing and splendid isolation. But first it's time to get the bikes out.
It's a lovely morning this morning, so we're going to go for a little bit of a bike ride and give the boat jobs a rest. I've got my oil ready for an oil change, but we'll wait for a rainy day for that. Apparently November can be a bit wet in Venice, so I've got some inside jobs lined up for that. But today it's going to be a great day for a bike ride, and we do carry 2 bikes on board in the sail locker. We had them right from the start. We bought them in Holland when we first bought Fairall, and they've been great, but I'm not sure whether it's something that I would definitely say you should have on board, because it just take up so much space. I mean, we've got a big sail locker here, and the key to, I think, if you're going to have a bike, is to make sure they come in a bag, because otherwise you're just going to get ropes and anything that's in here, cables wrapped around them, it can be a complete nightmare. But with the bag, they're pretty good. So yeah, we'll have them out today, and we're going to go to Lido. We can't actually cycle in Venice at all, it's banned, but Lido is the only place you can. You're not actually even supposed to take the things on the bikes on the Vaporettos, but I think while they're in the bag, we can just take them on as if they're luggage, and I think that will be okay. We will see, and see how far we can get. You can get all the way down Lido to a place called Choggia, which is supposed to be very nice on the mainland, but I think that might be a little bit too much to do in one day unless you leave very early in the morning. It's already mid-morning, so I think we're a bit late to do that, but we'll have a look, see how far we can get. So it's basically your equivalent of your garage, really, the sail locker, isn't it?
Yep.
I'll show these. But it is something you needed. We talked about it quite a lot in the cruising guide video, the space you need.
Thank you.
And you just do need a little bit of outdoor space for all this sort of junk that you don't want inside. So it's good to have a big locker.
We're just having a look at the bikes. It's been a few months since we've had them out. They've gone a little bit rusty, but with a bit of oil. What do you think, Steve?
Well, I mean, I do regularly get the WD-40 out on them, but you can see, you know, there's just bits. These are all aluminium. They're meant for boats. We bought them at Chandler's, but you know, there's bits where it comes through. You just can't stop it on a boat, even in a bag and all the rest of it. And I do, you know, religiously clean them with fresh water and spray them before we put them away. But this one, I can't even get the bloody bag undone. It's salt gets in there.
Yeah, it is.
And
the other bit of the zip I broke, so I've handed this particular job over to Steve.
Yeah, there were 2 sides to this zip, and both of them are stuck.
Bit of a poison chalice there.
God, it's just. Oh, there you go. See that? It's just salt.
Yeah.
Salt residue on there. Really, it just needs. You need to keep washing these in fresh water. So you still think having the bikes is a good idea, don't you?
Yeah, I do. It means you can go a little bit further. I'm not sure there are buses on Lido, for instance.
Well,
so,
yeah,
yes.
But we don't use them that much. I mean, we anchor almost all the time, and we're not going to get them out and put them in the dinghy to get them ashore. So.
Well, why not? Some people do.
Yeah.
I mean, it depends if we're going. Well, I know if we're going to be there for maybe 2 or 3 days, we might bother.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, look, they were, you know, really useful in Cartagena for going and getting shopping. I know you really shouldn't do it, but we were, instead of carrying shopping, because it's quite a long way, we were sticking on the handlebars and doing it, wasn't it, which worked really well. But here, of course, we'll do it on the boat, so we don't really need that. And then in future, you know, when we're out of the Med and we're sailing and just anchoring full time, I mean, frankly, we might have better things to do with the space. Don't you think?
Yeah, it is a question of priority. I mean, I quite like my little bike, but if we're not going to use them enough, then yeah, I can see the idea of space. You want to get a kayak, don't you? That's what you're really angling for.
Well, yeah. Look, once we've got a better use for the space, I suppose, in the locker, in the sail locker, then maybe these will go. I think by that time, you know, they would have fallen apart. We've had them, what, 4 years now.
Yeah.
They'll last a few more, I'm sure. They're not doing too bad. But yeah, I don't think it's worth buying more if we're out of the med. So no, yeah, I think we'll probably use the space for a kayak.
Okay.
Can hire bikes here, but that's the way to do it.
As it turns out, there are bikes, cars and buses on Lido Island. Perfect. And of course, plenty of small marinas and canals.
These are quite fun, aren't they?
Yeah, lovely. There's loads of them as well.
Yeah.
Little channels in, and if you look behind you, it seems to go right through. But
Yeah,
I think
not
this
with those boats, because they're all sailboats, so you can just come in and...
Yeah, you can't lift this, can you?
Nope. Yeah, good little place to keep your sailboat if you live in the Lido.
At the bottom of the island, what looks like a cycle path is probably just a footpath. The trees were a little low-hanging. I think that might be the cycle path.
Up there, do you think?
Well, it's a bit confusing, isn't it? I think it is, yeah. I was just following those guys.
Oh yeah, over here.
Yeah, that's right.
Oh, you got a duck though. Ah. Low trees, low trees. Looks like it drops you straight off into the sea in the end of it as well. Oh, I think we better go through here. This is very nice, isn't it? I mean, it's so different from Venice, isn't it? And it's just right there, a couple of minutes from Certosa, you're here.
Yeah, it's lovely.
And a couple of minutes the other direction, you're in Venice. It's a different world.
It's almost suburban.
Yeah. Yeah, it sort of reminds me of, I don't know, South Africa or parts of the States or something. It certainly doesn't feel like Italy. I don't know why.
Well, let's see if we can find a cafe. That'll be Italian.
Yes, we'll get Italian food.
The church there, it looks like it's on a different island.
Yeah,
I mean,
it doesn't look like you can get to it, does it?
Well, the catamaran there is just parked outside.
Just anchored up. Yeah, with this whole channel here, where this boat is here, is somewhere that we can take Fair Isle. If we go out on out to sea and through the Choggia Channel, we'd come back right through here,
Okay.
and then it ends up going right past St Mark's Square. So that'd be lovely.
Oh wow, that's my idea of heaven.
Yeah.
I hope the weather holds.
Yeah. Nice slow sail along the channel.
Sightseeing in Venice is best from the water. We're finding our way around using the vaporettos. The mix of different islands and marinas is complex. Now this is quite a spectacular view of St Mark's Square. Across the canal with all the taxis and things going by. And if you want to, you can have your boat here. This is a marina. A lovely view, but a little bit rocky, because every time a big boat goes by, all the waves come through. Not great for liveaboards then, but home to some beautiful Italian wooden boats. The Giorgio Maggiore Island is famous for its 17th century church, with its own version of the Last Supper. And what everyone comes here for, the magnificent tower, which gives us a bird's eye view of the islands. All of them. There's Fair Isle on Certosa Island. Talking of Certosa, let me introduce you to our neighbours on the island, Classic Boats Venice, a company which restores, sells and rents out classic wooden boats. Ever since we arrived here, I've been watching these craftsmen painstakingly bring old boats back to life. It's a real art.
We believe in classic craftsmanship combined with sustainability. So we use sustainable solutions on all of our boats. So that would be hybrid solutions or electric engines, but also part of that is wood. I think as a sustainable solution for the future in terms of recycling. We tend to take old wooden boats and just discard them and think, okay, these are just pieces left to time and can't be used again. So what we look at is maybe some old boats that have been discarded and forgotten about, but have some value that we know that we can bring up to a certain beauty that has been forgotten, bring it back to its former beauty, and maybe even better. So we look at these disregarded boats and give them modern solutions, but also use their old livable wood, because wood is always breathing and living, and we bring it back to life and give it a second chance. And it's also kind of I think a nice visual look. If Venetians see tourists on a traditional Venetian boat, it's like seeing a 1960s Cadillac in California. People respond to it and have very positive feelings about it. I think that this is fantastic. This is, for me, where the Venetians come to hang out, to relax. They don't really go to drive their boats inside Venice. That's not really the relaxing vibe. They come out here because it's quiet, there's no tourists out here. This is the island of Vignole we're passing through right now. So I would say anywhere in the northern lagoon, that's where kind of happiness starts, and where the real Venetian nature starts. It's out there in the northern lagoon. Sant'Erasmo, Vignole, Burano, Mazzorbo, Torcello.
So this is where happiness starts, on a wooden boat navigating through the channel and out onto the water to see the sun go down.
Today is a really beautiful day.
Can't argue with that.
The pile of cardboard is growing, deliveries are coming in. In fact, actually, I've got it all in one delivery because I had ProMarine, Ben from ProMarine, put all the bits together for me, which was really good prices as well. So I'll put his link below. It's a useful way of getting things through in one go. And yeah, the main thing that I got through was a whole new system for comms, but I mean, also there was other bits and pieces, the usual stuff, some filters, a new pump for the domestic hot water and cold water systems. But yeah, this is the exciting bit, and I will do a tech video on it. We've talked about what we had before, which is a wiry, and that sits on the backstay here. It worked okay for a couple of years and then started going a bit iffy and then died completely. And actually, when you look at it closely, the components aren't that good. And when you compare it to what we've got here, I mean, it's just much chunkier, much better made. And I mean, these are the aerials for the 4G, which in the wiry are just two tiny little ones inside a box. So a whole different class really. And that's the one for the Wi-Fi, which should go on the arch at the back there. So hopefully we should get Wi-Fi at quite a big distance. So we get this fitted. I'm just going to sort of jury rig it to start with and make sure it works well, and then actually find a place to put it and then go through all the hassle of routing the cables, which is always the worst bit.
But there are worse places to work on a boat. There's always something to see, and it's a joy wandering around the island. Autumn has come to Venice. I enjoy the seasons, and being here you get a good connection with the land, something that's missing sometimes on a boat. The smell of the woods and the distant sound of church bells is something I'll always remember from Certosa. Judy at the moment is getting a bit of a taste of winter, having a brief visit to the UK before lockdown.
One of the main jobs I want to get done while Judy's not here is the wiring. Not because of the outside stuff, really just because of what happens when you have to do stuff inside. You have to pull everything out of everywhere and find ways to get wires through, which is never ever easy. I've done the easy bit on the outside here. I've got to seal these in properly, but they're the two aerials for the 4G, which is fairly easy to run down through the doghouse and in. I will have to take the headlining off inside, so that'll make a mess. But the main one is this aerial big beast for the Wi-Fi, which is going to go on the back arch here. I've got a bit of wood that I've made up for it. I'll go up there and actually go underneath that one and get fitted onto there. Then I've got to find a way of getting the cable down and through and inside. Well, I think I'm going to have to move on to plan B. Problem with this was that this is where I wanted to go through the tow rail and through the bullocks, and it's just too difficult to do. There is far too much stuff that'd have to come out to get through that way. So instead of putting it up on the arch, what I could do is have it here on the dorade. Obviously not as good because it's not as high. Look at this dorade, by the way. If you watch the winter jobs video, I polished all these up and lacquered them, so that lacquer's not going to get used again. It was supposed to be good and really isn't. So if I go through the dorade instead, it means I don't have to come through here, which is where I was gonna take it. I thought it was going to come all the way under and through there, or higher up through here if I could get it in, but I just can't get it to that position. So the dorade is here. Let's you take that off and it will end up coming through there, and then I can feed it through the gap between the headliner and that. It has to go all the way through then to the saloon. Obviously that's easier said than done as well. I've got the special jiggly device to go through, although that was a bit light, so I've been going with something a little bit heavier to try and push through. But the problem I've got is it's not even reaching the inspection hatch, which is here. So it's getting stuck somewhere in there. I can't really see where, and this is what I really need a second person for, to sort of watch and see if they can see it and grab it. But I haven't got that, so what I've done is put a GoPro in there, and I've got that on my iPhone here, so I can jiggle away through there until I see it on the iPhone and know where it is, and then see if I can catch it. That's the idea anyway, so I'll see you in a few hours, I should think. Okay, it's not going well. Trying to get the pilot cable down through there wasn't working. I wasn't seeing it on the image from the GoPro, so I thought, okay, I'll try something stiffer and I'll actually get the cable itself that's going to do it, because at least, you know, I might be able to get some direction with that. But it goes in that far and actually gets stuck, because somewhere around here it's too thin. You can't really see it. You can get your hand in there and just about feel that there's something here, a rib that's low down. So I'm not going to get this cable through. So on to plan C. Okay, plan C. I think this one should work. I've got a way through here, an established way through, which is the deck gland, which takes all the stuff off the backstay, the radar, the existing wiring. That's the one that's coming off, and the solar panels. And I've got to put another couple of solar panels on anyway. So if I put a bigger unit on there, it can definitely go through that way. And then instead of having it up here, I can, because all this is coming off, it can go through there. So I can mount it here between the two. So it should just sort of go, it'll go where that is, underneath that. And yeah, it should sit then between the two solar panels. And the downside is that it's going to be a longer run. I'm not going to get the box as far forward as I wanted it, because I've only got 10 meters of cable, but that's okay. I'll find a place to mount it, and then I can extend it to where I want it with the Ethernet cables. And the upside is that it is higher again. So yeah, let's go with that.
The afternoon's chore is a trip to the shops. But when your route is the #1 Vaporetto that goes the whole length of the Grand Canal, it's not so bad. A slow ride that stops everywhere, but gives a unique perspective to this wonderful city. Job done. And time to put the finishing touches to the installation before the sun goes down.
So that's it, it's all in, it's all working. I'd be lying if I said it was easy to do. It wasn't. It might be if you're really good at IT, but I'm certainly not. So yeah, I struggled and went through the. Luckily, you've got support with Digital Yachts. They've got a guy called Paul who was very helpful on emails and things, but actually it stumped even him. It couldn't get through to the local portal here. It's a captive portal on the internet, and he couldn't do it. So what happened was in the end he made me change the DNS settings on an iPhone to make it push through, and it works. So you need that, you need that sort of backup, I think, as I say, unless you really know your way around this. And what you end up, and I'll go through this in the technical video, but some interfaces where you can go through and change things, your different settings, make it work how you want it to work. It's not brilliantly well set out there. Their software is clunky, it's complicated. I think even if you knew your way around it, it's complicated. I mean, for instance, to change, I can change this over from being on the Wi-Fi here, which is that dot, and if I wanted it then to fall over, the failover to the 3G, so if it lost the Wi-Fi, it automatically goes to the 3G. I can put that out. And, well, that's something you want to use all the time, and you want to switch around, and it's sort of buried in the just these different menus, of which there are hundreds. So yeah, it's difficult to find what you want sometimes. I still haven't found actually how to change the channel frequency. I mean, if you end up, I can see here I'm on channel 6. That's the Wi-Fi from the marina here is channel 6. If it happened to be on channel 11, which I know is the channel that my Wi-Fi is on, I might want to change it. Well, I've actually been through this. I'm going to have to ask them how to change the channels on this, because it's really not obvious. So it'd be nice to have easier to use software is what I would say. But yeah, I mean the system is working brilliantly. I can show you where I put it. It's the box that gives me Wi-Fi is now in here. It's only got the one aerial on now because it's got 2 wires going through it to the big aerials for the 4G for the mobile broadband. So yeah, the first box with the big piece of coax coming from the Wi-Fi aerial only just got to the back of this bulkhead. I was going to try and get it in here and then get that behind the TV, but because of the way I had to route it, it's shorter. So that's fine, that's in there, and then the Ethernet cable comes through to this box. And if I go over here to the TV, it's a smart TV, so I can plug an Ethernet cable into that. I need to get a longer one. Judy's bringing one, but for the moment I can just plug it through there to test it. If we turn it on, and we can see it's connected to Fair Isle. So there you go, that's connected. Whatever you want, BBC iPlayer, Netflix, you can go through. Obviously we'd only use this in the marina, all the mains stuff with Wi-Fi, but the unit obviously will give a Wi-Fi hotspot around the whole boat. So when we're at anchor, we'll just, we can, with a laptop and the Wi-Fi connection via 4G, do the same thing. It's using your 4G, not a Wi-Fi. And there might be some occasions where, because we've got that high-powered Wi-Fi, we can grab a Wi-Fi off a bar on the beach or whatever, and if it's fast enough, we can stream through that, do the same sort of thing, just on the laptop on the table. And that's how we'd sort of normally do it on at anchor. But yeah, this, if you're in a marina for any length of time, it's good to have this.
While Steve's been working inside the boat, outside Venice is getting ready for the annual Veneziana Multi-Yacht Regatta, an end-of-season festival of sailing. Many of the yachts are gathered here in Certosa, with skippers on 20-foot to 70-foot boats, all planning to make their way to St Mark's Square in the morning to race from the same start line. "200 yachts, all with their sails up in a perfect breeze. Quite a spectacle." The race was won by the British boat Prosecco Dock, a name which inspires the evening of celebration on Certosa. We are on our own on the Vaporetto as we go into Venice for food shopping and perhaps lunch. Walking through the silent streets is a little eerie.
We're just coming up to St Mark's Square, which is the busiest part normally of Venice. Usually this is teeming with people. You can see it's completely empty. And normally you would have to queue up to get a shot down there towards the British side. Only one person there today. Doing some work though.
Doge's Palace is closed along with all the other sites. No one is going anywhere.
Well, it's supposed to be at 6 o'clock where the restaurants close, but I'm not sure we're going to get lunch.
No, very unlikely. And lots of security personnel around.
Yeah.
Makes you think we're missing something.
Is there some sort of global epidemic or something?
Whole line of wrapped up gondolas. It's really quite sad. Once we have supplies, we decide to take a trip. Lockdown is a good time to explore the waterways. The sun is shining, there isn't a breath of wind, but hey, you can't have everything. Well, it's not high tide, is it? But I think we've got enough.
Yeah, that's right. It's not, but it is actually a falling tide, so we do have to be a little bit more careful. We can't go aground like we did last time. Well, I mean, you know, I'm sure we better reverse off, but if you're hard aground, we're not going to be lifted off by the tide. It is now going down, so we'll be a bit careful.
It is lovely though, the sunshine. There's something about sunshine in November. You just feel, I don't know, privileged and lucky. The Venice lagoon looks like a tree of waterways. The branches are naturally deeper than the shallow water, and it's only possible for us to travel along one of the channels marked in blue. From Certosa to Burano, some channels are uncomfortably close to our 2-metre draft. We're planning eventually to go right up into the northeast corner. Uncharted waters for us, so we plan to wait for high tide. First stop then is the colourful houses of Burano. We like this anchorage because it's one of the few places deep enough out of the main waterway. Opposite the town, there's some marshland to explore. We still haven't got a motor for the dinghy, so that means rowing.
Pretty bloody shallow, isn't it? I mean, look.
Yeah, I know, you can see it. Yeah, I mean, if we swing round, we're in nothing. The water is beautifully clear. A place for little fish, perhaps, or crabs.
Just going into the bank here. This little trap. So there must be something that comes down that bit of the stream they net off and catch. Ah, look, it just comes in. This thing here, this net, feeds into the pot that's down there. It's under there. It just feeds it all in to a pot underwater. There's another one here, look.
I know.
Net it off,
Oh.
and then you can actually see this one. It comes down into an underwater bit here. Is anything in there?
Yes, crabs. Quite a few of them. Back on the boat, I start some work. Our new comms system means we can pick up 4G and Wi-Fi at a distance, so we have plenty of data. It's also my turn to choose the film for tonight. Love Netflix. Meanwhile, Steve's in the galley.
Okay, here's a quick little one while we're sort of talking about life aboard. I think this sort of travel just changed things. I mean, in the UK, we're pretty cosmopolitan about in the sort of way that we cook, the foods that we eat. But the usual food is meat and 2 veg. And I was going to cook some chickens, and just fried chicken tonight. And normally that would be, you know, with some sort of potatoes and some greens of some sort. But I don't know, you sort of, this rubs off on you, the different ways of eating out here. And I just wouldn't do that here. So I'm doing some chicken. I'll stick that in the frying pan. But actually with it, I'm not going to have, you know, chips or any sort of potatoes or any sort of green veg really. I'm just going to have some tomatoes and some mozzarella. Mozzarella, you know, is fantastic here. And I'm going to just cut that up. So it's just the mozzarella, tomatoes, put it on top. A little bit of olive oil. Balsamic vinegar. This is the sort of concentrated stuff. Okay, so that's done. And yeah, it's not the usual chicken I do as fried chicken. I normally do drumsticks, so this was just left over from something that I had that I was making a stir fry from. But we put a bit of basil. I always have a little basil plant that lives out on deck on top of there. And that's it, job done. I think that's probably healthier than the usual things we would eat.
The next morning, the sunrise is too good to miss.
It's a chilly morning, but it is lovely. Quite a few people out and about. I suppose that's not surprising really, and they're on their way to work like anywhere else. Bit of a nicer place to go to work than most though. Don't get views like this on the 5:30 to London Bridge. I have to use my other hand. I'm just going to go round and round in circles.
At the peak of high tide, we head off into the wilderness. Just us and a few fishermen. One still wearing a mask. He's unlikely to catch anything but fish here though. The further we go up the lagoon, the more the wildlife takes over. It's so peaceful. And at the end, we're completely alone. Well, this is a really beautiful place. It took us about an hour and a half to get here from Burano, through lots of people fishing, sunbathing in the November sunshine. But now, look, there's absolutely nothing. Nothing except us and the birds and stillness. And if I come down here, we can see that Steve is fishing.
About to fish.
Fishing with cheese?
Yeah, well, that's all I've got. It's cheese or salmon. Depends if they're gourmet fish or not. What do you reckon? There's cheese and stuff.
I think we've got more cheese, so I can sacrifice some cheese.
All right, well, I'll start with cheese. If I have no luck with cheese, I'll go on to the salmon.
I'd rather not sacrifice our salmon, you know, just in case.
But I haven't tried this. This is the rod that we got when we were in the Mar Menor. It was donated to us by Manny's Bar, which is very nice of them. And I haven't really properly used it yet. I did have a little bit of a fish in there, but I did make up this because I don't know about these fish. I don't know what fish I'm trying to catch, to be honest, at all. But the guys that are fishing here, they're not sort of fly fishing. They're not going in and reeling in, which I think is what you do with sea bream, which is what I was trying to catch in the Mar Menor. So but here they've just got them in and they're just watching. I haven't got floats, I haven't got all that sort of stuff. So I've got this that I've made up. So it's a stone with a hole in it, which will go to the bottom, and then it's got a cork, so that should float up away from the bottom.
Ingenious.
Ingenious. It's
Absolutely
got to work,
brilliant.
isn't it?
I reckon it'll definitely work. And we've got about 2 metres under us, something like that.
Yeah, it's very shallow. So yeah, I don't know put how much line, but yeah, we'll see. I mean, I think we've got the fish all to ourselves because there's no one else here. So I mean, they've got to. If anyone's going to catch a fish, it's going to be me.
And this is the right time, isn't it? You know, lovely
apparently,
evening.
As the sun goes down, they all say, as the sun goes down. So they're not already. Look at that. God.
Okay, well I'll switch off now and switch on back again in about an hour, something like that?
Oh, 10 minutes.
10 minutes.
Yeah.
Okie doke. All right, bye. Do you want to come in now?
I think I've got enough.
Yeah, plenty. One day we will have fish for supper, just not today. This is the perfect place for birdwatching though. The egrets spend hours and hours waiting to catch fish. It's shallow enough for them to wade through the marshes. The swans were a big surprise, just one pair of them. And one lone fisherman up here. Even in the sun, it's getting cold, but Steve is determined to go swimming. I see you got my suit out as well. That was a bit optimistic, wasn't it?
Well, you're not coming?
No.
I do need a suit. It's going to be cold. But I shouldn't complain because I think most of the world has seen that video of that Norwegian girl digging the hole in the ice and getting in now with virtually no clothes on. So compared to that, this should be lovely.
It's been so warm all day.
I know, but trust me, it's freezing.
No.
Okay,
I'll just keep rolling, shall I?
Yes.
A few seconds.
Woo! That is gold.
Lovely though?
Oh. Lovely is not the word I'd use.
We've long thought the best way to see the lagoon is by kayak, so thanks to JP at Venice Kayak for lending us one. First we had to sort out the oars. I picked up the longer one by mistake.
Yoga it up, and that one. There you go.
At high tide the water covers most of the marshland, though often it's just a few inches deep. Our trip is taking us through the waterway to the small island of Torcello, the oldest settlement in Venice dating back to the 1st century. Along the way, evidence of some who didn't make it.
Look at that, that's that submerged boat.
Yeah, that was sort of up in the air last time, wasn't it?
Then a quick turn right and we're in for an unexpected treat.
That's amazing. What a beautiful sight. It is a net, isn't it? So
Oh, just lower it down and then wait for it and hoist it back up again, see what's in there.
definitely to do with it.
I would imagine. Either that or it's just a huge trampoline. Go out and have a bounce.
The things you see, eh? Or miss. I think we've missed our turn.
See, I thought swans just like fresh water.
Yeah.
I didn't realise they, had gone this, because it's not completely salty, but it's very brackish.
Yeah. It is.
Some proper rowers coming up, standing up rowing. That's how you're supposed to do it in Venice.
Standing up rowing is called Voga alla Veneta.
Crab pot. So, do they lower that down and catch them in there, or are they just keeping them alive in there? What do we think?
You know, I have absolutely no idea. Answers on a postcard, please.
I would love to know what this style of fishing is called.
It's the crabs. So are those little ones that they eat with batter? What are they called?
They look quite small, yeah.
So this bell tower here in the Basilica is apparently the oldest building in Venice, from 600 and something.
wow.
The original building from 600 on this site though. Basilica di Santa Maria Assunta.
Can you go inside?
On a normal year, I think you can go inside. I think at the moment it will be closed because of COVID, but yes, you can. Yeah, that's proper rowing. Buongiorno.
Wow.
No good here, eh? Yes.
Superb.
Yeah.
Paradise.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
It really is paradise. Quiet and deserted, and not just because of COVID. In the Middle Ages, Torcello had a population of around 20,000 people. Now there are just 10 permanent residents living here.
We had a little bit of a storm come through last night, so she put a bit of snow on the
mountains in the distance. A little bit of wind. We're going to get a little bit more tonight, but we are going to move. But beforehand, we're going to go over here to try and get some fuel, which is not as easy as it might be in most places in Venice, just because of the depth. We've got to go right at high tide, and we're hoping we'll have enough. We went and chatted to them yesterday, and they said 2 meters, yeah, difficult. But we're pretty low, and we need it for the heating over the winter. So, and I like to leave the tanks topped up anyway, less condensation if the tanks are full. So, yeah, this is the time really to get all that sorted.
On the edge of the colourful town of Burano, there's a petrol station. While Steve's filling up, I'm just checking how much depth we've got underneath us. This is high tide, and we're just about making it 0.2 of a metre underneath us. So yeah, we've gone down from 0.3 since we've been here, so we better get away quite quick.
Alright, do you want to go and check forward tank?
Meanwhile, the fishing continues. I haven't yet seen anyone catch anything.
So that's why I use the funnel. The bit that's left in there is actually water. It won't go through. The odd tiny drip of diesel still getting through there, but most of that is water. So yeah, it stopped you going in my tanks, which is a very good thing. Sometimes you get quite a lot. Once in Croatia, we got, half a litre of water in there. So yeah, definitely worth doing.
We're heading up to our favourite anchorage in the northeast of the lagoon, when we meet what can only be described as a sea tanker.
I hope we're out of its way.
Luckily, there's just enough room for us to get past. It is shallow all around here, so I'm not sure how the ship stays upright.
You just wouldn't think there was room, would you?
You wouldn't. Wow.
How do you stay afloat?
I think I'm going to come in behind it now.
A few hours later, after we're anchored, there it is again.
Just moving a little bit.
I think we're going to move a lot as it comes through.
Yeah, look, what's it doing?
Well, he's just got to steer around the deepest bit because it's just really, really shallow. I don't know how he's doing this. We've got a metre of water under us. It's not much deeper in there than, you can't draw more than 2 metres, that boat.
No.
Believe it, would you?
I wonder where he's going. I thought it all stopped up there.
It pretty much does. We can't go any further than this, really. I mean, we've always decided that unless it was high water, we wouldn't get past the bit that is at now.
Yeah.
And it's not high water at the moment.
No, a couple of hours.
Yeah. And it's not the high. The high was sort of, because you get two highs, sort of one after another in this part of the lagoon, and the main high was 4 o'clock in the morning, and now there's another one 2 o'clock.
Did we ever work out what that boat did? What it does?
No idea what it does, no.
By nightfall, we are finally alone.
Well, we're back in the kayak now. Steve's behind me, and there's Fair Isle, and it is glassy water. It's absolutely lovely this morning, and Steve's playing with a drone. It's our one that doesn't sink, unlike two we lost.
Yeah, it's it's a different sort of drone. This one, you can just get it and chuck it in the water, which you can't do with many. We'll get away from it a little bit. So I start it up. It does sound like a really good idea having a waterproof drone, but unfortunately it flies like a brick. It's just not that good at all. I used to build drones about 15 years ago before DJI were around, and they flew better than this thing. But, it is cool being waterproof. There you go.
It's also amazingly noisy and windy. It's like a helicopter.
But But when you're all alone in the middle of the lagoon, it does take a great picture. There's us heading for the shallow marshes. You couldn't roll this. You bump your head.
Yes. Yeah, we've got about just over a foot underneath us, I suppose.
There is no better feeling than being alone in a kayak in the middle of winter. A wonderful day.
So we're back in lovely Certosa Marina at the moment. I'm just doing a bit of cleaning on the boat. We would be exploring a little bit more around Venice if we could, but obviously with lockdown you can go there for shopping and things, but they don't really want people wandering around and everything's closed. So we're making the most of being here, which is great because we've got the whole island basically to ourselves, and Julie's out for a run at the moment. I'm doing a bit of cleaning.
You might have seen in the last episode the lacquer we had on the bronze dorades really didn't work in the sun. So I've cleaned them off and I've had several recommendations for a product by G Technic, so I'll be doing that in the new year. Main job though was getting the winter bimini up, Judy's conservatory.
Back in Venice, while the gondoliers are unable to operate normally due to restrictions, our friend Tommaso Lupi offers to take us on a tour of the waterways. COVID has kept the tourists away this year, but this is still the desired means of transport for some Venetians. In the summer, the Grand Canal was busier, but still this is nothing like the water traffic Venice usually faces. Today we have the sights to ourselves. And the Bridge of Sighs. A kiss under here means you'll never part. Ah. Most gondoliers come from Venice, so like Tommaso, they know the city well. It's also a skill that's often handed down the generations.
Has this been in your family for a long time, the gondolier?
I'm the first gondolier in my family, okay? My father was a gondolier, and I learned to row boat, not like a gondola, but a normal Venetian boat when I was a child, okay? I will show you some pictures that I'm a little one that I row, okay? But I met my wife many years ago, and him father was a gondolier. So him teach me to drive this boat, and from the 99 I became a gondolier. So
When you make it look easy, you all make it look easy, but I can see it's going to be a very difficult
it's
thing to do.
difficult, and when I pass in by your boat, you will try, okay? I make you try. Okay, slowly.
Somewhere it doesn't matter where you fall in. Yeah.
Okay, but I see that you you swim a
Yes.
few days ago, so you can swim also now.
Yeah.
The temperature is the same, I think. When my daughter see the movies that you follow in the water, you jump in the water, she said, it's crazy. Yes, it's from England.
So how long does it take then to learn the skill?
Minimum, you need 1 year, minimum. In 1 year, you have to go out about every day. And it's very different to learn outside, like my daughter is doing, that inside, okay? Change everything. Yeah. So outside, you learn just to drive, but later inside, it's all different.
Yeah.
Back in the Grand Canal, Tommaso tells us a bit more about the gondola.
Is this the boat that you inherited from your father-in-law?
No. The life of one gondola is roughly 15 to 20 years. Okay, so after it's better to change or to make it a restyle because she changed the form, become heaviest, and it's harder for us to row the boat. Okay, so it's not true that we pass in the boat in generation. The license, yes, okay, can be the father and son, but not the boat.
And what about your daughter? You say that you want her to become a gondolier.
No,
also.
I don't think that she wanna do it. But I teach her how to do it. Okay.
Yeah.
She will take the permits to do it, and after she decide what she wanna do.
We first met Tommaso in the marina, where he's teaching his daughter Matilda to row. She's planning to get her licence next year when she's 18. Rowing from inside the boat is supposed to be easier, and this is where all apprentices start to learn. But it all looks pretty skillful to me, as the oar skims the water. The idea is to have perfect control and what looks like an effortless ride.
Do you think other women like you might want to do it?
Ci sono altre due donne che fanno questo lavoro e ce ne saranno sicuramente delle altre che vorranno provare a fare questo lavoro.
What do you like about it? What's exciting?
Di questo lavoro è il fatto che si usi comunque un mezzo, che in questo caso è la gondola, che risale comunque a periodi storici molto antichi e che si porti comunque avanti nel tempo questa tradizione.
Gondolas are hand-built in wood. The flat bottom and high bow give them a distinctive outline. This banana shape gives them good rocker so they can turn easily. But when you look at the plan view, you'll see another ingenious feature. They are completely lopsided. This asymmetrical shape is cleverly designed to allow the boat to still manage to travel in a straight line, with the gondolier always standing on the port side and rowing from starboard.
There's a real tradition to the build as well, is there? Tell us a little bit. I'm told there's 8 different types of wood.
Exactly, 8 different types of wood, and also it depends because it's made by hand in the old style.
Yeah.
Yes, it's not easy. It's not easy. And also there are not so much young people that want to learn how to build the gondola. Okay.
Yeah.
So it's a difficult tradition to continue with.
And one of the unique things is the focola, where you have your oar
Yes,
here. Well, tell me a little bit about that then. How does that work?
The focola is the second engine of the boat. Okay. The first one are me. Okay, it's me. The second one is that one because I can row like a normal speed. I can make the first speed, okay. I can stop if I use like this. It's the essential of the boat. Non muoverti tanto, sennò perdevi.
Oh.
And this is why training takes at least a year.
God, it's tricky. Because if you leave the oar in, the water will, if you're moving forward, to drag it off the focola, won't it?
I show you.
Yeah.
Okay. You dry like this, okay.
Okay.
Okay. Slowly, it's not
Slowly,
so much. Okay.
Yeah.
Try
Okay.
like, you
Yeah.
see, it's this, and but also is this, and this.
Yeah.
Okay. It's not only this.
Yeah.
Otherwise, you turn around. No?
Sure.
So
Yeah.
premi and stai.
Ah, okay. So,
Premi
so it's
and
actually
stai.
under and digging
Exactly.
in. Ah, okay.
Now it's very under. Normally, it's just for me. It's just a little one that's
Yeah.
coming out. Okay.
Okay. I'm still going to port. God, this is so much more difficult than it looks.
Yeah. It's not easy.
No.
It's not easy.
And to be able to do this and actually relax, because my legs would give out after half an hour doing this.
Also with the wave. Nice.
Wow. Because it's not, you'd think it's the waves moving the boat, but actually it's the waves moving the oar up and down that pulls it out of the Voga.
I did think the waves might be a bit too much.
Otherwise the people on board don't like the tour.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's the least of my worries at the moment. It's, you know, them liking the tour.
You never see like it, but the normal people know. Okay, so.
You need one of those stripy jumpers, Stephen.
Yeah, I'm sure that makes all the difference. Oh.
And that is how it should be done.